Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Warcraft replay here. We are back on the Netease ladder. And yeah, it's just a simple human mirror on the map Echo Isles. I will get towards the requested replays eventually. It's just the requested one was 36 minutes and that might take some time. I need to obviously
Ready to work.
be in the better condition that I am right now. I'm expecting this just to be a rather standard game, so yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind. And yeah, I don't think we've seen 1.30 human mirrors. I think the closest we could have been was Infi TH, but Infi went Night Elf, which he has been doing a lot. So yeah, Romantic spawning in. Romantic spawning in as the red human player in the top left, and Sock spawning in as the blue human player in the top right. It is going to be Archmage first both sides, and for now that's pretty much that. They either start at their Ogre Warrior camp, or they take the more risky mercenary camp here. 1.30 doesn't really give too much to the human players, to be fairly honest. On the top of my head, all I can think of is the
Job's done.
Paladin nerfs. Paladin, I think Mountain got buffed with the Thunderclap, although I think that's 1.29 instead of 1.30. But they're essentially the same, to be fairly honest.
Ready to work.
Siege Tank costs one more food.
Ready for action.
Honestly, that's all I could remember. The biggest one was the militia nerf there. The militia duration is less, or I think that's what got hit. But yeah, it doesn't really seem to affect even that much. Obviously, they've given up their throne as the easiest race to win with, and they gave it over to the Night Elf, which apparently, in my opinion, seems to be the easiest to play and obviously win with. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Ogre Warriors start here for Sock as he goes in for early harassment, as the mercenary camp was taken down for Romantic, and he is going to get that early level 2, but Sock is here with the harassment with his Archmage. Might lose the scout tower. Nope, is gonna go straight after those militia here, as Romantic actually chooses to use TP scroll, which is a little too hasty in my opinion, but I guess he's worried about the losses that he might suffer. So far it seems like he's not gonna suffer that much. So far he's only lost a single peasant. Might be able to pick up a footman in exchange, but nope. It seems the footman is able to escape maybe. Shadow Priest is going to be used for pathing there, and not going to be able to successfully kill him off, as the Archmage, oh, just a little ways away from range, and the footman will actually survive. Level 2 is finally going to be given to the Archmage of Sock, as long distance creeping here on the Knoll camp. And that is fairly good. Able to burn the TP scroll early for the red human player is kind of nice to have. We are going to still be around, harassing over on Romantic's side. He is going to take a lot of damage onto his Archmage, and will be forced to back off a little bit. But, yeah, is still applying pressure to his opponent. Tick first for Sock. Meanwhile, Romantic is kind of in a bad position right now. Hasn't ticked just yet, and he hasn't cleared the gold mine either, so he's going to be severely behind his opponent, and that could be a bit of a problem, because this is a mirror, and so far it looks pretty mirrored, except Sock is just a couple steps ahead of his opponent. That might be able to give him the edge later on, but we shall see. Both elementals being taken down thanks to the Shadow Priest's abolished magic, as Keep Tick has finally started for Romantic. Sock might be able to take down the Troll Berserker there, but he is going to pull his units away for now, and it seems like
Job's done.
with Keep Tech completed, the Alchemist is going to get picked up as the second hero here. So, only difference I would say from 1.30 to from 1.29 is the, of course, ever so increasing presence of the Alchemist compared to the Mountain King. For now, it seems like he's going to pick Acid Bomb as his first ability, but to be honest, I mean, all three abilities of the Alchemist is pretty good. Chemical Rage gives him a pretty nice steroid to act as a Demon Hunter without the mana burn. And Healing Spray obviously is good because it's a healing ability. But since we are going into double sanctums, priests could possibly just substitute that healing spray, and we might just go into Acid Bomb, Chemical Rage. We shall see, as the Archmage of Romantic is trying to take down the Marketplace's Ogre Magi here. One Delusion what was picked up by the shop, and for now it seems like the illusion is just going to scout. Okay, both sides are suffering a couple of losses here. Footmen for both sides, but the Acid Bomb could be a bit problematic for Romantic since that just increases the DPS of the blue side. But the Alchemist is taking a lot of damage himself. Abolish is going to take down the Elemental as the Archmage and the Alchemist gets themselves an extra level. Yet to see the second ability from the Alchemist here, but Archmage obviously placed down the level 2 Elemental, and it seems like Romantic is going to be forced away as the Berserker is going to slowly die to that Acid Bomb. He will live, I believe, unless the Footman gets that one swing in. Oh, actually no, Alchemist was able to take him down with the Acid Bomb. That lasts forever, to my surprise. Once again, still contesting on the Marketplace Ogre Magi, as he does get taken down by, I believe, the Archmage of Romantic, so... or at least I think he did. I would say I think I did, because I didn't actually see the Alchemist's experience bar move. Maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I did move and I am really blind, but for now, not a good position for Romantic to be in. A couple of priests already being added to the army mix here, as we have finished Keep Tech finally. Going into double sanctums. We're going straight into Spellbreakers, in fact, for Romantic. So double sanctum, double Spellbreaker with a blacksmith in addition. So we might be seeing either a couple of things: upgrades, workshop, or rifle casters. But since we are going into Spellbreakers, I doubt the riflemen are going to be added in. Mortar teams seem like a good option to deal with these priests and maybe the Spellbreakers here. So I don't know, but yeah, double sanctum with additional workshop seems pretty expensive to maintain, and the expansion has yet to be cleared out for Romantic, so it's going to be a bit of a problem. Acid Bomb going to get tossed as the Healing Spray comes out as the second ability for the Alchemist. So despite having a billion priests, Healing Spray is still going to be used on the blue side here, as it seems without Chemical Rage, Alchemist is kind of too difficult to deal with anyway. The Mountain King gets picked up by Romantic for his second hero, so the first bit of divergence here, Mountain King versus Alchemist. Obviously Alchemist has a couple levels ahead of him, so his impact is going to be felt a lot more. But yeah, in this kind of comp with mass Spellbreakers, Stormbolts might actually prove to be useful because it can obviously pin down the key targets, either of these two heroes, or just straggling priests.
I smell magic in the air.
Spellbreakers are starting to be added in for Sock as well. Romantic, I believe, is going backwards. He went Spellbreakers into priests, but he is going to clear out the expansion on the bottom left. Hopefully he can match the expansion that is currently being built on the bottom right. which should be finished very soon. And yeah, it will still be spotted by the Spellbreaker, so time is of the essence for Romantic. But for now, both sides are pretty even in supply, 45 versus 50, I imagine. Romantic will narrow the gap very soon, as we have +1/+1 upgrades for those Spellbreakers, as well as added training for the priests. So upgrade investment rather than workshops. We are going to see a blacksmith being placed down for Sok as well. I actually have no idea if Sok scouted the blacksmith. He did kind of. He can probably guess what building that is, so he's going to try and match the upgrades with himself as well. The expansion still has yet to be placed for Romantic, and that is extremely bad. Eventually Sok will go into low upkeep, and he will eventually overwhelm his opponent, which I guess is definitely going to be a problem. In terms of hero levels, we are at 4s for both the Alchemist and the Archmage. Ring of Regen is the pretty much only item worth noting here. I believe the Alchemist also has the highest strength growth, I believe, from the Reddit thread, or something like that, so with the Ring of Regen, he's going to be extremely tough to deal with. Meanwhile, level 4 Archmage, level 2 Mountain King. That is going to be a rather significant difference, I would say, and Mountain King probably only has Stormbolt / Bash, which is not that great because most of these units are going to be Spellbreakers. Here we go, 50 versus 61. Sok has the numbers advantage, but his +1 upgrades has yet to kick in. Meanwhile, Romantic already has +1/+1. Blizzard is being cast by the Archmage of Sok as well, so I guess he is kind of scared of these Spellbreakers potentially getting their summon control ability, but I believe that is tier 3, so doesn't have to worry too early. Either way, Blizzard will be a good pressuring tool to at least force Romantic to position his priests. Obviously it doesn't hit Spellbreakers at all since they are immune to magic, but here we go, Acid Bomb being tossed on the Mountain King, and quick burst onto the Footman thanks to the Mountain King Stormbolt there, as honestly Sok has just been throwing away his Footman in order for more space for his Spellbreakers here, and here we go with a big fight, another Acid Bomb hitting a good cluster of priests, but here comes the Militia to hopefully try and push this threat away and maybe even place down that expansion that Romantic desperately needs right now. +2 armor upgrade is on the way for Romantic, as +1 or +2 for Romantic, +1 has already been completed for Sok, as we are at 65 versus 70 here. Another Blizzard being cast, not going to hit too much, only the Mountain King for now. Stormbolt onto the Archmage to prevent him from casting, as he gets quickly bursted down to half health. Thankfully he does have a healing scroll, TP scroll, as well as an invuln, so no immediate threat right now. As Saki once again is able to push his opponent away.
Job's done.
And of course, Archmage for Romantic can't actually restrain himself because the Alchemist, the Goblin Shop is being controlled by Sok. Pretty good Blizzard once again from the Archmage, as Spellbreakers trying to get their desperate glaives onto that Archmage, who is going to be forced to retreat once again. Mountain King on the other hand is going to get acid bombed and brought down to half health, as it looks like it's pretty much just Spellbreakers pushing their way through their target and then eliminating them, or at least try to. A couple of priests already taken down on Romantic side, but honestly, if you're Sok, you are still pretty happy even if you're not going to get any kills, because you're stopping your opponent from placing down that expansion that could have made things a lot easier for Romantic. Yeah,
Research complete.
horrible position to be in if you are Romantic, to be fairly honest. Even though you have +2/+2 upgrades on your units, without an expansion you can't afford to reasonably go into low upkeep for a long time. Or you can't reasonably afford, you know, just battling it out constantly without the increased income to replace those units. But here we go with again, another fight. 64 versus 76. Clear advantage for Sock here, but the Mountain King finally gets his level 3. Maybe that level 2 Stormbolt might be a lot more worth it. But the Acid Bomb still being constantly tossed by that the Alchemist. As, yeah, once again, another Blizzard being cast onto the Mountain King. Stormbolt is going to be quickly cancelled by the Invo, nicely timed there from Sock, and he will be able to take down a couple of these Priest/Spellbreakers in exchange for very limited amount of losses here. This Healing Spray is going to be cast by the Alchemist, but the Archmage is still going to be forced to TP scroll out. Mountain King was really close to getting killed off there. I think another Acid Bomb might have been able to do it, but very narrowly able to survive, as the Archmage for Sock is now level 5. I believe it's level 3 Blizzard, so that's the most damage it could do, and that would be very bad for those priests, which, to be fair, Romantic doesn't actually have that many, so I actually don't know how you could win at this point. Romantic still refuses to place down an expansion because I guess he wants to try and all-in with his army right now, which, sad to say, is a lot smaller than Sock's. Castle Take on the way, Magic Sentry is also on the way as well, I believe. So that will be okay. I'm not sure how impactful that's going to be in a human mirror, but another fight is going to ensue. 61 versus 80 here, 20 supply difference between both sides. Mountain King's being pushed back with an Acid Bomb, as the Spellbreakers are having free hits onto the red Spellbreakers here. Another Blizzard is going to be cast, as, yeah, Romantic wasting so much time moving around. Ring around the rosy on the tree line here, but this looks to be done, as the Mountain King is going to be forced to pop that Invuln. Stormbolt to take down a Priest, but yeah, Listen Invuln is not going to keep that Mountain King alive for long, as another Blizzard being cast onto those Priests, and they're not moving. They're going to get quickly taken down. We're still at 53 versus 78. Sock looking pretty strong right now. Acid Bomb onto Mountain King here. No form of Invuln whatsoever. No Staff Sanctuaries either, and that is going to be the MK down. And that is also going to be Romantic GGing out. So that is a huge score difference, to be honest. I actually have no idea why Romantic refused to place down the expansion. He really needed to equalize the economy, but bad timings, to be fairly honest. That is going to be that. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys again whenever.